Welcome to a Drop Tent Media production.
What's up? Today on Seriously Dad, Al Davis, myself, and Jay Yoder talk to Philadelphia comedian Joey Callahan. He's got 2 daughters and they got a lot of great stories. Enjoy.
Seriously, Dad?
Seriously, Dad. 2 father comedians out of Philadelphia. Seriously, Dad.
Dad? Seriously?
Dad.
Seriously? Seriously?
All right, man, we're here. I'm so excited. We got Joey Callahan in the house today.
Hey, Joey Callahan in the
Fishtown
house.
native? Is that true?
Yeah. I'm OG Fishtowner.
So you're like not far? Like this
I'm
is
not
like,
far. No, I don't live there now. But I mean, my heart and soul will always be in Fishtown.
That's awesome.
You're pre-gentrification Fishtown.
That's right. That's right. Brooklyn hipsters.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So we're glad you're here, though. This is gonna be a lot
Guys,
of
thanks
fun
for having
today.
me. Thanks for having me.
So we like to break the ice. You know, like I'm a teacher, so oftentimes I think sometimes there's good to do cheesy things up front because it breaks. So we like to do a little dad joke round. Everybody says, you don't have to be original with it. I'm never original. I always like plagiarize.
Fucking jokes.
Yeah,
stealing jokes.
but I try to put my own style on
a dramatic interpretation,
That's
reinterpretation.
Right. That's right. So like for example, I don't know if you guys
Sampling.
can tell, and I'm sure some of the listeners, if they're watching on YouTube, can see. I got a new hairstyle, and my daughter said to me the other day, she's like, "Oh, Daddy, did you get your hair cut?" And I was like, "Baby, for $20, I got them all cut."
Okay. So wait a minute, your hair is different though? Hold on, go back. Your hair is different?
Yeah, I got.
What did it look?
Al, you never notice. Al, like,
Yo, I had no fun. What did it look like before?
it was longer and shaggier.
Like down your face long? Was it a bowl? Would you have a fucking bowl cut? How did it?
No, it was just longer. It was out of.
All right, so you just got a hair trim. You didn't like change your hairstyle.
That's it.
I'm sorry. I'm really sorry.
Welcome
about
to
that.
Metro Men.
All right,
This is what we talk about hairstyling.
Can we see your hair, please?
Yeah,
sir?
that's
Look at
right.
this guy.
Yeah,
You guys got
56 years old. Look at his
this was a
beautiful hair,
deflection.
baby.
This was a deflection because he didn't want us to talk about it.
Oh, because I'm bald? I'm fucking shaved this thing. It's not bald. It's shaved. There's a huge difference.
Al is my wife's favorite comic.
Yeah. So
Mine too, which is weird.
All right, that's my dad joke.
You got a dad joke? What do you got?
So I did a show last night, and there was like kids in the audience, and I was just come up with dad jokes, and I said, I got a joke about pizza, but I'm not gonna lie to you, it's cheesy. And and some kid yelled out from the audience, "There's this movie about constipation. It hasn't come out yet." And I laughed my ass off at that.
That's so funny. I did it with my daughter's first grade class. I went in to read a book, but then I was like, "Oh, I got to talk to these kids." So I actually
Gotta talk to these little bastards.
I memorized a bunch of jokes, and we just went back and forth for like
You're just
15.
joke
and now
battling,
and
just-
I teach in there. So now when they see me in the hallway, we like trade jokes.
There you
But
go.
It's fun to have those.
You always got to keep a couple clean ones in the holster, right?
it's
Yeah.
good.
you know what I mean?
What do you got? Did you do an original? Is this
I
an
did
Al
original. It's not that. See, so I grew up in the your mama era. Right? I remember your mama was so fat, your mama was so dumb. But I don't know. I think like with the social climate content, social. What's the word I'm looking for?
You can't say anything.
Climate.
anymore.
There you go. I said
Yeah.
climax. Social climate. I'm about the social
here you
climax
go.
right now.
You got to
baby.
take it there.
Social climate. I figure we should do your dad is so dumb, right? That
Okay.
makes sense. And it's about dad. So my joke is your daddy's so dumb he thought that mixed martial arts was a new Eminem mixtape.
Okay.
That's an original.
That's good.
That's pretty good. I think that's pretty good. That's pretty good.
I'll give you the.
You give it a little poetry clap?
I had
Okay.
somebody do that at a show the other way, like Thursday. I'm
Yeah,
like, are you
that's
giving me
good.
poetry snaps?
Yeah.
Like, can you just laugh? That would be
Yeah,
amazing.
laughs are so much better than snaps.
No, but the mama jokes like that. I work a piece into that because I'm like, oh, which one are you talking about? Because I
You got
was
the
raised by
double mom. You
lesbians.
got the double mom.
Yeah, actually,
yeah.
And my dad, before he came out, he married another woman for a period of time. So I had
You had 3 moms.
I mean,
Yeah.
I was writing a new bit. I'm like, oh, talk about nipple confusion. Jesus.
You don't have to brag, Jay. You have 3 moms. Jesus, lucky.
Yeah, man. My laundry was always done.
That's always on
folded.
point.
Yeah, no,
We had the
that's
best softball team.
funny. Yeah, that's I was like,
And everybody had sensible shoes.
my mom was my catcher,
And explains your haircut.
That's right.
So
Yeah,
we go back to that. So yeah.
no, but I like the dad jokes. I like
I think
that. Your dad's so
I
dumb.
mean, mine was an original. Like,
Yours was an
like
original.
when the fans see this, they're gonna be like,
I
that
mean,
guy,
that's-
he
the
brought
comments
something
are
to the
gonna be
table. They're gonna be
flying.
on
I
fire.
agree.
You know what I mean?
Well, I think what's cool about today for us is we're all father of daughters, which is also
Yeah.
the name of your dry bar.
Yeah,
special.
drive FOD, the
FOD,
notorious FOD.
notorious
father,
Oh, shit,
Father
okay.
and daughters. So,
Okay.
yeah.
So you,
Wait a minute, you didn't watch it?
no, yeah, it's in my queue. It's in my
Yeah,
queue.
I love how he tipped that hand.
Wait a minute.
All of it.
Notorious FOD.
Yeah, father and daughters.
Now, do you like hip hop music? I know this is a bit of a tangent. Do you
Well,
like-
I like all kinds of music, but
Okay.
the irony of the situation is when you have a 56-year-old white guy calling it that.
yeah.
That's funny.
Hence, there's the joke.
Boom. Good.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. I like it. So what do we need to? I don't know. What do we need to know, man? You're father of 2 daughters. What's
Yeah, well,
Yeah, tell us
I'm your
what's
future,
happening.
is what I'm trying
Yeah,
to
this
say
is-
here.
okay.
You guys are amateurs now. You got the little ones, and
Yeah.
wait, you have no idea the shit show that's coming your way.
It can't be that stressful though, because you got a full head. You haven't lost
it's
any
white.
hair. Yeah,
It's
but
white.
it looks fucking good, bro.
Yeah,
I
well,
mean,
thank you. It's a strain by strain process. I spent a lot of money for this. I'm not just a client. I'm also a spokesperson.
you look good.
So,
you look good, brother.
No. The girls are great. I mean, but women are by nature. I do this joke where men are dumb. We don't have any brains, and I'll say to the women in the audience, "Guess what? You don't have souls." Because they're out constantly apologize. I'm like, I'm sorry, you're right. No, you're right. I apologize, and it's constant to the point where it becomes apathetic. You're like, yeah, that's me. I killed Kennedy. You know, you
Yeah,
don't
I
care.
fucked
Right?
it
Seriously, I
up.
left my
I
mom,
fucked
my
it all
wife,
up.
and 2 daughters, and that pandemic of that. Now were your daughters? I know they're older.
So here's the deal. My oldest lives on the Upper East Side, and my youngest was down at Temple. And my oldest comes home and she takes the train, and I pull into the train station in Trenton, right? And all the cars are double parked, and they're all guys my age, right?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you look up and you see these young girls with their bags all coming down, and the fathers and I were looking at each other like, what the fuck? We got rid of them. Jesus. So we figured 2 weeks. But I got to say, when my girls were younger, I was on the road all the time. It took a global pandemic for us to be locked in the house and for me to get to know my daughters. Which
Okay.
I honest to God, it was a horrible situation from the vantage point of people dying in the sickness and the economic.
right.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I got the chance to meet my daughters as young women, and it made a big difference. And my
yeah.
wife is the one who said, "Hey, dummy, this is your chance to catch up for lost time," because I'm a moron. And when we had Friday night hors d'oeuvres. I was in my office. Emma was in her office. So it all in the house.
So you guys
the
made a
bedroom.
schedule?
Yeah,
of
and
events?
we'd have lunch, and it was fantastic.
I think
We'd
that's
watch movies.
important.
So yeah, that
That's
was
awesome.
It was sad to see them all go.
Yeah.
So
When I
think-
graduated college, I mean, it's a little different, but when I graduated college, I'd lived with my mom for maybe like 6 months, 8 months. But it was the same thing. Like coming up, there was a lot of lost time just because of schedules and life and da da da. And then it was like just me and my mom hanging out, and it was cool because we got to like know each other a little better, and we would eat dinner together every
Yeah.
night. I would make the dinner because I got home, make dinner every night, and then it was really really cool. And it's one of those things that like when it's a memory I won't forget. Like
Yeah,
when
I
I'm
mean-
dying, I'll replay.
What about
that
the
one.
pandemic for you then? Like, were you guys trading off still, or were you for a
No,
period of
man.
time saying like, I'm not going to take them for a while just because
Yeah,
don't know.
yeah.
that'd be
It was
tough,
like,
yeah.
I hope you have FaceTime. I'm very upset with how the pandemic shook out. I'll just say that. But we all thought for the longest that like you were gonna die. Like if you got in contact with someone and breathed the wrong air, you were probably gonna die.
I was wearing scrubs to work, coming home and taking
your
off
clothes
my
off.
clothes
Yeah.
into the laundry room, and I was Lysoling like a box of Fruity Pebbles in my driveway
Yep.
before I brought it
Yeah,
in from the pea
yeah,
pod. Like,
yeah,
like there was a
yeah,
period
yeah.
of time where we didn't know.
Yeah.
And-
they would send me out grocery shopping because apparently I was the most expendable one.
Yeah,
in the house.
exactly. Yeah, yeah.
And I remember being in the giant, and you see like a bunch of people down in the aisle, but you had to get down that aisle.
Yeah.
Like, does anybody see rigatoni?
Roll it to me.
Can you just throw in a box at the end of the aisle? Yeah.
No, the generic. Get the generic ones.
No,
things
I
aren't going
got
well.
a coupon to the left. So
Because you're right, because everybody's touching it. How many
Dude,
people touched it? You don't
yeah.
know.
We
So
didn't
I
know.
didn't get to see. I was FaceTime, and it was like we're gonna
So
just keep the
how
girls
long was
here.
it before you?
I mean,
like-
after about I think it was 2 weeks, and I
Oh,
said
okay.
I'm not doing it.
All right.
we gotta see my kids. Like I'm
Yeah.
not gonna do this. But there's people on that side of family. Some have like the sickness issues, autoimmune, or
yeah.
compromise this, and you're wearing masks, you're changing your clothes, you got gloves. It was crazy. But it was about after 2 weeks, I said, no, I'm not doing that.
I felt the same way that you felt. My daughters were at the time 4 and 7. So like, what a gift to be able to.
I almost feel guilty saying that, but yeah, I would agree with you. Yeah,
and get to know them at that time for me when like they're still developing, and like it was just such a blessing in that regard that I was so. And then my mom, thankfully, my mom had already been living. She moved down when my oldest was born. And she was like she was working remotely even before the pandemic as a nurse, and she was helping us. So it was great. But now we had been together for 9 years, so we didn't do a good job. We were taking that for granted, and the days were blurry. My wife and I are teachers, so we were teaching and trying to get our kids to sit next to us and do their schoolwork.
Oh shit! Good luck.
And so it was just really. I mean, it was so stressful that we didn't. Days and nights were blurry. Like, you just try to find stuff like we would take turns taking 10-minute car rides around the neighborhood by ourselves while the others stayed home, like just to get breaks. You know what I mean? Like, I
got to say, like, I'm married to a first grade teacher, and I even do this in my act, but it's true. I had no idea what a rock star she was, because basically I watched her teach 6-year-olds from 8 o'clock in the morning till 3 o'clock in the afternoon on Zoom, 30 of them. And you make the joke, she'd come down and like, turn that computer. Hi, everybody. All day long. Oh, you guys are, okay, see you tomorrow. What's for dinner?
Dude.
It's like they're
serious.
on set, right? It's like on set. And action, they light up,
And you have to, because you have to have that level. You have to do that show just like us. We step on stage.
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't matter what we were going on.
No matter what happened, you got to
keep moving. Like, I mean, I'm sure you've been at a point with the travel where you're about to get on stage and you got some bout of news or something, and you're like, okay, now I got to go on. And
well, my mom died. Mom. I mean, it's the first show after my mom died. I was still shaken, but I had jokes where she was positioned, she was alive. So I'm like halfway through the setup. How do I shift this or when? And then you kind of work your way into that. But it's shaking. It can shake you up. Yeah.
So that's that same thing. So that's a skill that teachers, and I think that's for me. Like as I transitioned from being a teacher from 18 years to now doing stand up, I think that's one of the skills I noticed that I was so grateful for, is that being able to turn it on and know. And I think that's a skill that every teacher has too, which is like, but like watching my wife, she's a learning support teacher for kids who were like freshmen in high school seniors that had to graduate. And so, like, watching her go to kids' yards and, like, sit in the yard in a lawn chair and talk to them through a screen or help get them into... Because some of them, you could imagine, these kids, like, if they're not being told to go to school and they're not being forced... We were doing a thing when we shut down where it was, like, every teacher was allowed to give 2 deliverables, 2 things that had to be turned in per week. And that's all you could do. You did not. There was no class, but there was office hours that they could come pop in and visit, and that's how we wrote out sort of the end of that first part of March on. And it was very lax. And then they tried to institute a difference there, and I could just see the stress of her, the stress of me. That's why we needed to laugh more. That's why comedy became.
Oh, that's
so crucial for us. We had like
fuck.
Impractical Jokers on the TV nonstop just to kind of, break the tension of all of it.
You know what? That's fun. I had older girls, so we drank a lot. There's the
that's got to be one of the coolest things.
There's the moment. I mean, I'll be honest with you. My youngest just went down to tailgate, and I like German beer, and I have a very excellent taste in German. I have a case of Weinstoffener, which is $60 a case. And my wife said, I just took her to the train station, and I can't believe she brought beer. I went, wait a minute, whose beer did she bring?
Dude, they're doing funnels with your Weinstoffener.
She only took a couple. I'm like,
I can't wait.
That's like $60. Oh my gosh.
I can't imagine the day where I'm like, because they're so young. You know what I mean? I can't imagine 15 years from now when my daughter's 21.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like it seems so.
I grew up in a tap room. If I can I grew up at the Fishtown Tavern. They're in and around it. And if I could make my uncles laugh, they would give me shots of beer. If I wanted a beer growing up, I could have a beer. I was very European in that approach. I never abused it. So I always had that attitude, like, if you want a beer, as my uncle Johnny O'Connor would say, I'll give you a beer, but there better not be any acrobating.
Fishtown Tavern, that's where is
Thompson
that?
and Frankfurt.
My friend Josh owns that joint. I think,
Oh, okay. That when they brought me home from the hospital, the Lankenau Hospital, they brought me to the 3rd floor of the Fishtown Tavern. So that's where I grew up. So yeah.
My grandparents were in Philly. I remember going to bars with them where they had like shuffleboard on the floor.
Oh shit!
And then I got a Roy Rogers. They
Cigarette
never
machine.
gave
Remember
me
the cigarette machines?
Dude, my grandma was like sponsored by Winston. You kidding me?
Winston,
Like,
100s, long
yeah,
fuckers.
yeah, she had the coats and everything.
Yeah.
She had- But like, I grew up like that. But I was never offered it, and my mom never drank because her parents were drinkers. So she was the opposite of that. So we never had beer. I never started drinking until my high school or college graduation party or something.
Well, we were never allowed to say anybody was drunk, and even to this day, and I caught my daughter saying it too. It made me laugh out loud. Nobody's drunk. They got drink in them. Your uncle's not drunk. He's got drink in him. So, and my daughter said, my girlfriend's got drink in her.
That's so
I go,
funny.
it's been passed down from generation
Right?
to
But
generation.
it gives you insight as to what they've been doing with their time over the few years,
Yes.
how good of a drinker they
That's
are, right?
true, yeah,
It's
yeah.
like you watch them open a bottle of wine, you're like, wow, you're really fucking good at that. Then they're like chugging beers and funneling it, flip cupping and shit, and you're like, wow, this
I
is
heard my
a-
wife say to my youngest, "You're like your father. You can drink and drink and drink, and the next day nothing. You're fine. How do you do that?" I go, "Practice, hon. Practice."
It's a gift. So I want to ask you though. So this
Please.
is so the drinking thing. We can go back to that also
Sure.
because that. But one of the things that I don't know if fearful is a word, but is my daughter is going to start dating at some point.
Yeah.
And I want to say this: at one time, her mother had mentioned in front of her that she liked the boy at school, and she definitely does like the boy, or did like the because she got embarrassed. You know what I mean? And when she said that, I got such a wave of like jealousy.
Sure.
And like pain and so it was so fucking weird. Like now I kind of understand why like the dad always has an issue with like the son-in-law or whatever, because I felt it and I was like, am I second place now? Like, did I just get bumped down?
That's got to be
second-
like such an instinctual.
It's got. I mean, tell me about. I mean,
Well,
first
first off, the rule in my house was you just got to find someone who loves you as much as I love your mother. That was
Okay.
the rule right out of the gate. That's
Okay.
all I ask. But when my oldest is born, right, so I'm looking at her in the incubator at Holy Redeemer Hospital, and there's that moment in your head, you go, some guy is going to come and take her away from me. And then we brought her home, and I got to know her and her personality, and I thought to myself, I don't know who this guy is, but I kind of feel sorry for him now. I hope
gonna
this
have a
kid's
rough
got 2
one.
jobs.
Yeah.
He better have a lot of money. She is not low maintenance. So you just, I mean, at the end of the day, it
creeps- you don't even notice it
but
happens.
But you just want to be there and make sure that you can beat whoever it is up that she brings
Yeah, that's
home.
what you
That's
gotta do.
the
That's what you
and
gotta do.
I'm not a physical person anymore. I've grown up. You got in a lot of physical. I prefer to get in your head like Hannibal Lecter and have you chew your own tongue off. So trust me, that's playing the long game. Anybody could beat anybody up, but get in their head. So,
Yeah.
Plant those seeds early.
pluck
Yeah,
those
yeah,
pluck
yeah.
those nerves. That's
Dude,
what you do.
And now, so because you're on the road a lot for most of their,
Yeah.
your wife, a lot of it fell on your wife to sort of, raise them and find those moments. So she's probably
I'm telling
one.
you, I met my wife when I was 19, and I'm not just being maudlin when I say this. Her only flaws are tasting men. It's absolutely true. I mean, she is just. I mean, she could be a real pain in my ass at times, but I absolutely love her.
Have you been 30 years now? How long have you been married?
We dated for 5 years. And we're going to be our 32nd wedding anniversary.
Wow.
Holy shit, congratulations,
Yeah,
man.
well, listen,
Congratulations.
the year ain't over yet, so she could wake up and
Yeah,
go,
still
"What the
time.
hell was I thinking?"
Still time.
So,
Yeah.
that's why I always delete my cache. Always delete your window
Well, I
browsers.
think about how Al and I have talked about that too, because like I know for you, like I was in a relationship where it was ending when
there
Lainey
was a
was
baby
pregnant.
showing up, yeah.
So now all of a sudden it was already separated. So that adds like a layer of like imagine that like. That would have been a different timbre because then it's hard to say, oh, you got to find someone that
Who loves your mother the way I do because kind of don't love her. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But
it's
I-
right.
No,
I-
but
yeah.
you can also, I mean, you can shift that gear from I'm guessing is find someone who loves you as much as your father does.
Yeah,
I mean, and you
exactly.
kind of
It's that same sentiment of
the
that.
sentiment, yeah, and,
which is 100%. It's true.
and
It's-
what takes a family? I mean, you perfect example. I mean, love is love. You just
Love is love.
If,
That's it. I
if
love
two
you
people
here.
can honestly love each other, who are we to
I wish
say
I
what they
knew. I
couldn't?
wish I realized that growing up. Like my daughter has a kid in her class who has 2 dads, and I'm like, wow, like, dude, I spent my life in witness protection, like hiding because everybody,
Because you had to, yeah.
and my mom too. She wanted the Norman. She wanted to give off an appearance of Norman Rockwell, dude. So like when I got older and I started having kids come over because I liked having sleepovers.
Yeah.
she would go so far to stay in the guest room and pretend it was her bedroom.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
But think about the
Psychologically,
cross your mother had to bear.
That's what I'm saying.
Just
Like
the
that's,
pain.
that's why it's like I
Yeah.
can never feel like so I will never be upset about like how that like what I had to do because I'm like wow I feel terrible that she felt that she had
Did
to
that
do those
fuck
things.
with your? Did that
Well,
fuck
I
with
think
your
what
brain?
the problem is I think what it did to me was give me a sense of like I had to hide my. I don't know if I really understood who I was. I was trying to be a chameleon and adapt to my environment so that you wouldn't look. I didn't want to have to give a doctoral thesis as to what's
As to
going
what
on
the
in
fuck
my
was-
house.
Now, was it a conversation? Was like, now, Jay, when you have friends over, mommy's gonna be over here, and we're gonna. Or was it just like?
I mean, I think it was sort of like an unsaid
Places,
thing.
people, places.
Yeah,
It's
let's
not-
go, let's
this
go.
is not a
They're in the
drill.
driveway,
This is
goddamn.
a-
Dude, the
This isn't a
birdcage,
bit.
dude, like
Yeah,
watching
yeah,
the
yeah.
birdcage for
Yeah,
me,
yeah.
like was emotional
Buffy.
because like there's so many things that, like I say, like when I met my wife, that was a thing. Like, at what point when I'm dating someone did they get to know that about me, or did I let that know that that wasn't my aunt through marriage because she had
Yeah,
a thick
right,
Australian
right,
accent,
right.
and you know,
Yeah.
like so there were like certain things there that they, you know.
Did your mom ever express, because you've talked about this multiple times, and I kept wanting to ask, did your mom ever express, like, her worry was, like, again, her job being affected and stuff at the time? Like, what did she
Yeah.
ever?
I think that was.
really
I
good
think
point. That's a
there was a
huge point.
period
You
of
know?
time there where I think it was she didn't want a negative reflection on me, and I don't think she was comfortable being out because like that was not accepted by her parents, and she like my grandma babysat me and all of this, so I think she wanted so badly to be the best version of a daughter that her Irish Catholic mother wanted her to be. And she went so as far as to go back to school to be a nurse, which is something her mom always
fulfill the
wanted
dream
for
of the
her.
mother. Wow.
So it's like and so there was a lot of, I think, her of trying to be that best version of what her mom had envisioned of what a daughter is.
Yeah.
And she was fighting her own self because she was an awesome person as she was. But I don't think that they had that chance to reconcile that, you know.
That's tough.
But I will say I wouldn't have changed anything. I'm glad it went down the way it went down because we had they had the best friends. Like we had like such great times. Like you know, like maybe we weren't having family that was blood around us, but the family we had created through friendship was so much fun.
You were
Dude,
winning.
you
You
know,
were
like
winning
I
that
mean,
whole shit,
when
yeah.
we hung out with people that were like Nathan Lane and Robin Williams in the Birdcage
Mm-hmm.
that had like the ridiculous houses with, you know, the
Yeah,
marble
yeah.
statues. And like, I just remember so much laughter. We were always laughing. And me as a young kid, there weren't other kids around.
Yeah.
There wasn't
Oh, you got
these
all the attention. Yeah, you
adoptions
got all the
of
attention.
kids.
All
I
the
was
kids
this-
are talking about their family vacation in the Wildwood. He's talking about Lilith Fair.
Right, exactly, right. I'm like this lone
And then the
souvenir.
Indigo Girls came. It was fantastic.
Dude, it wasn't Disney World. We went to P-Town.
Yeah.
Right. Only
Alanis
the real
Morissette is the
LGBT
best
people
ever.
will know what P-Town is. That's like at the tip of Cape Cod, Provincetown, Massachusetts. The only place,
It's like the gayest place
the
in the
only
world, or
place
in the East
my
Coast.
mom's could be my mom's, and it was okay.
It's so funny. I remember going to Martha's Vineyard when I was younger, and we loved it. We would go like whale watching and shit, do all that stuff.
Yeah.
I didn't realize I was surrounded by a bunch of gay people.
Yeah.
There was a lot of gay people up
It
there.
was like the first time I could see them holding hands in public, like stuff like they would never have done. I mean, we went out to dinner all the time, whatever. But like, you know, it was just they weren't allowed to show affection in the way that maybe you would expect to see.
Yeah.
But when we were in the house, it was fine. It was just us. We would all watch TV.
That's a sad thing to not be able to be who you want to be, right?
Absolutely.
Like
Yeah.
Like
But the
to have
other,
to be.
I would think the skill set too, as fathers of daughters, we probably should instill a sense of gaydar, so they don't fall in love with someone who's not interested or is just doing it for show because they're keeping up appearances. Like
Yeah.
it's like everyone knows that the person's gay except for the person dating them. That kind of
Right,
situation.
right. And
So,
you're
Yeah.
like, dude,
you know.
this is clearly.
So it's, and I think,
I'm sorry to interrupt you there.
No,
I
it's fine.
apologize.
I got nothing good to say.
no, but I think you're right. And I you know, so I think going back to that, that was something that, you have those awkwardness of signs. Like even now with our daughters, regardless, like there's the awkwardness of like being males and female issues. Like my daughters are really young and my mom's past like that thing,
Yeah.
but there's gonna be a time where I'm gonna have to go buy feminine products. I don't know if like if that was something
I never had to do that. I never.
because I was thinking
yeah.
like, what am I going to do? Am I just going to now they're self checkout, so I feel like it's a lot easier.
Yeah.
But like before, would I have bought other stuff to like mask it? Like, oh, here's some clementines, here's some other things. Oh, and I have.
Yeah, I've only bought tampons once.
Yeah, you did.
Obviously not for my daughter. I've only bought tampons once in my life for a woman, and I didn't feel.
I had
that
done it
weird about it.
for a girlfriend in high school or whatever.
Yeah, I
Like,
didn't feel that weird about it.
I felt very. You know.
Really?
I was
Did you really feel strange?
well. I don't know.
I
like,
felt more weird buying condoms than I've ever
Yeah,
felt.
I was gonna say that's right.
I hate buying condoms. That's why I have
what are
daughters.
condoms again?
That's why I have kids, right? Because I hate wearing and buying those stupid condoms. I don't support that industry at all.
Well, because I've heard people like Bert Kreischer does a whole bit on his daughter having a period party. I'm like, is
like
that
caramba.
like having a like for their celebrate? I'm like, I already have an internal feeling happening in me as I just mentioned those words. I'm like, but I guess like, hey, if my wife and that's something that they think they want, they can have it. I don't want to. I don't know.
I think the purchase is the easiest part of what you just explained. And I think if someone's like there's not a mother to explain some of those womanly issues, that's got to be fucking weird.
Because you're explaining stuff that's not your own plumbing.
Right. And you're like, well, this is what it is. Yeah, it's kind of like,
It's
oh,
a
boy.
fish out of water on that one. So like, I'm glad my wife's around to be able to, and like even my
you're
mom,
right.
like someone around that I can, because it does. I think that it takes a village phrase is as cheesy as it is so important, because I think about how like even with my special needs daughter, like I'm grateful for the people she has at school and her aide and her support teacher and her, I think having an army around takes some of the pressure off us.
But I bet you they get like, so you would know, right? Because your daughters have grown. Do they get weird when the womanly things start happening and you're dad and it's like, oh, don't let dad may not know about this and that's cool? Or
Nah, you know what? My wife never got like that, so my daughters never really
Okay.
got. Or another school of thought, they're perpetually always annoyed with me. I couldn't tell if they were menstruating. I was like, I said, I can't. The statistical analysis here, they're always mad. So unless they're
What
being,
is there? Did they have a thing that you do that annoys them that you still love doing? Just see them get
well, my
annoyed?
youngest and I would be in the car, and I'd have my cell phone on, and I'd turn the recorder on, and I would do the Robin and Daddy show, and like, hey, it's the Robin and Daddy show.
Yo, my dad does that now. He's like, well, I'm just gonna record what we talk about,
Yeah,
and I'm like, this is fucking. I do it because I love my old man.
I'll do I'll be like, guess what? And like, I'll do it randomly. And then I'm like, chicken butt. And they hate that because but I'll keep doing it to them because I know they're going to get so mad and they still fall for it because they think I'm going to be like telling them we're doing some surprise. And I just do that. I love pushing their buttons because like, I feel like that creates a little moment. I want them to have moments. I want when I get old and I have nothing else, we can talk about those little moments, or I'll be able to say that on my deathbed and it'll elicit all these emotions from the years.
Oh,
of
absolutely.
us having those little moments, because we were talking another episode of things that we just do with them. Like one of the things Al had talked about going on walks with his daughter and like, and I talked about, I do like bath time is like my thing. So like bath time is like something I really make sure I'm always home for.
There's a certain age where you're gonna have to stop doing that.
I know.
You know that.
Well, dude, okay, first of all, yes, because that is weird. But two, Tom Brady recently had a thing where he had a post where he kissed his son in the back of the head or something, and people, even Dan Dupree on the Weekday Comics, were making a joke about it. And it was like, at what point does the affection change? Where like you just kiss him on the forehead, or like do you not like? I don't know. Like, is there a moment? Did you feel like the way you gave affection to your daughters was the same?
Yeah, I mean, there was a point where I would say, "I'm going to bite that hiney. I'm going to bite that hiney. I'm going to the prom. Stop biting me on the hiney."
Because it is.
Get a picture. Take a picture. Of me
I'm
biting
biting
the
that
hiney.
ass. Come here, you.
That's right. That's right. Because like it's like but it's just it's going to change.
You become like very affectionate, and then you kind of have to hey, how you doing? Kind of, and then then it comes back to the, I see my older daughter. We give each other a hug and a kiss. We always tell each other we love each other.
Yes.
I mean, there's other time, like my wife would go, "Oh, they're really mad at you." I go, "I just told them I loved them. What did I do?" Like, my mother was like, "They're really mad. What? What did I do?"
I mean, I gotta keep it really. I'm dreading the day they stop holding my hand. That's gonna be very sad. Like, I love it now. We get out, hands held, walking. Dad, two girls rocking out. It's awesome.
Did they sleep in the bed with you guys at all?
No, the general, Donna Callahan, my wife, she put them to bed. It was like, oh, the aye, Captain.
Wow.
She put them in, and she just had it down like a German train. She just, boom, they were in
We
bed.
have one every night still.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, when I get home, and I got home at like 1:30 on Tuesday night. I went up to New York City and I came back And I was so tired. I only got I had 4.5 hours of sleep before I had to get up.
Welcome to comedy.
And I right. And but it was so nice. I like seeing her there as long as there's enough room for me in there because we have a king size bed. But like having her in there and just having that snuggle moment, right? I think that helped me go right to bed. And there's something about that I'm like, oh, there's going to be a day where she won't be there in the middle of that bed. She'll be in her bed.
Yeah.
So I was like, for the while, I was very insistent when I was like, they're not sleeping in our bed. We were setting boundaries. And now it's like, after a while, I'm kind of like, oh, all right, like I'm going to miss that moment when they're not there, I think.
Yeah. I mean, like my oldest daughter, I miss her all the time, and then she comes home to visit. In about 10 minutes, I'm ready to take her to the train station. Let's go.
Yeah, let's go down to New York.
Thanks
all
for
right,
coming,
girl.
Em. You're the best. See ya.
And I've also got comfortable with the fact of Alicia, my 9-year-old, like that. My wife and I, we don't know how she's going to be when she grows up. Like, is she going to live with us for the rest of her life, like, the rest of our life, whatever? Like, because Amanda was saying, we were talking about how like obviously I'm pursuing something I'm passionate about, and like and she had talked about wanting to open a coffee shop. And she said she'd let me do an open mic there. I'm like, if in 10 years I'm still doing I'm worried about your coffee shop. No, but like it was cool because she's like, well, and Alicia, she's like, maybe Alicia could work there. And, and so I was kind of cool seeing her because I hadn't, it's hard when you have a kid like that and you have to talk about things. Like sometimes it's hard to talk about like the future when you're kind of, you don't want to address it.
Right,
but it was like
right.
kind of a nice moment where she clearly had been having an internal dialogue to herself about some of those things. Cause I'm wondering, is she going to live with us forever? And I want to be okay. And I'm okay with that because it's like, I'm enjoying the moments that we can share. Like I was telling him earlier on our previous episode that I take her out to lunch by myself with her every week.
Who pays?
Well, me, unfortunately.
Well, culturally, Americans kick their kids out of the house way earlier than everybody else.
Yeah.
We are quick. Kids are quick to move out, and families disband very, very quickly in our culture. Like
We were saying that if I could, but now with the economic culture, kids can't afford to leave the house.
right.
That's the problem.
well, when did your oldest roll out?
She went to college when she was 17 in Manhattan,
And then never came back.
Where'd she go?
LIM, LIM. It's because it cost me an arm and a leg. That's the joke. But my wife's from New York, so my kids grew up between New York and Philly, so it was really kind of a lateral move. So.
Now your daughter that's at Temple, is she still at Temple? Or
She just graduated, baby.
And
She's going to grad school in September.
Oh, so then there and where at?
Massachusetts School of Pharmacy and Health Science for Occupational
she's
Therapy.
smart.
Yeah, here's the funny part about
Fuck,
that is
man.
I've got dyslexia, but I grew up in the 70s, right? So we didn't know I had dyslexia. Yeah. My mother said to me that she was going to take me to City Hall and change my name to Moron because the words kept moving on the page, right? And my youngest, my wife being a teacher, we got her tested. We got her help. She was on Dean's List, National Honor Society. She got a partial scholarship at Temple. She got a big scholarship at grad school. And at one point, we're talking about this, and my wife literally looks at me with absolute seriousness and goes, "Do you think they give us the right baby at the hospital?"
Yo, I see my daughter reading. Like she read so early and she loves books. Like even today, she has to get 2 books before we leave the house to go anywhere. And I'm like, you could not have paid me to read.
Oh my gosh!
It had to be a baseball book, Matt Christopher book. Had to be something, and
Comic
even
book.
then,
If it was-
Comic book.
Yeah,
I'll read like an
Viking.
article or like a newspaper or like something that
Well,
I don't read like a fictional
so
book
this
or like
can't be my child.
Yeah, I
like,
don't do
you
that.
know, it's like
Well, do you ever read like 3 pages and go, "I have no idea what the hell I just read"?
Absolutely.
And I just
I'm
go,
like, what are we even?
what-
I'm looking
yeah.
at the cover. I'm like, what are we even reading?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is Denzel in this? Because I don't know. It's
when's
not
the last
working
book?
for me.
Can you honestly remember the last time you picked up a book to read?
Yes, I can. The Da
What is
Vinci
it?
Code.
Oh yeah. How
Yo,
long ago
what
was
the-
that?
come on,
Dude,
Now, did you read it when it first came out or recently?
I think when it first came out.
Oh, okay,
Years
so
years
it's been-
ago.
Oh, that
Okay,
was the
so-
last book you remember reading?
Yeah, no, that was the last. No. Hold on. Let me clarify this.
You know, they made a movie.
I know that is not the last book.
into a book? What? No.
That is not the last book I remember
Oh,
reading.
okay. All right, that's fine.
That's the last book I fucking read, bro. All right, like let's get to that. I don't, but I read things all the time. I just reading a book. I fall asleep. I fall asleep. I fall asleep. But I want to ask you because you talked about we were talking about the moments, the college drop off.
Oh,
Is that like just
that
is
was,
that
that
just
was
like
hard.
twist the
That
blade
was
and watch
really
me
hard
cry type of
because
shit?
because I dropped the eldest in Manhattan, Upper East Side, and you're like, oh man, wow. And then the youngest was always like right there. We took her to Temple, so we had the two opposite problems. Emma, we never saw. Robin down at Temple kept coming home. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Go
make friends.
Go
to
to
sorority.
Go get a frat party.
Yeah.
But then there were times where I could come down and we could meet and go to lunch and stuff. Or I had shows in New York. I remember.
That's actually really cool.
So when you're working in Manhattan, I could. And Emma does not want to come into a comedy club. Like both my girls are so bitter towards show business. They're so unimpressed with comedy.
Yeah.
So.
Well, what about so obviously, you know, we want to help mold our kids, but then at some point when they become
Don't look to me, give me advice. Well, do whatever I say, do the opposite.
but what happens when they become adults and they're making choices that you're not necessarily okay with?
Oh, that happens every day, man. And sometimes you just gotta like grit your teeth. Sometimes you gotta let them know, like
You have to pick your battles.
You gotta you know what? I'm not happy with this. I can't control what you're doing, but I don't like this shit.
Yeah.
So,
And what do they? Is it F you, Dad, or is it whatever? I gotta go, or is it like
well,
why?
my oldest will just say whatever she thinks I want to hear and go do what she wants anyway. And my youngest will give me the "you're a moron" look and just like roll her eyes. But for the most part, I haven't had any major trauma other than my oldest moved in with her boyfriend, and I haven't had anything to say about it. I haven't said anything, and they just came for Christmas, and I behaved myself perfectly. Let me point that out.
You didn't
I don't
do a
care what
Robert
you
De
heard.
Niro
I did not
meet
start
the
any
parents.
fights at Christmas.
There you go.
So
they moved.
there
in
was
and
blood on my stool, but I did not have any.
So they moved in recently.
I would say about a year,
and it's going well.
I guess I don't.
The reports you're getting.
Here's the best part: is the two things. My daughter at one point said, "Oh, Dad, if you know you're in the city, just come stay at my place." I'm like, the thought of her and him in the bed and I'm sleeping on the couch, absolutely not.
Wow.
And then at Christmas time, and this is when I thought at the top of my head, even my wife said, "You were doing good." She was like falling asleep on the couch, and she, "Oh, I'm sorry, I was snoring." And the boyfriend goes, "You always snore." And I got up and I just walked in the other room. And my wife goes, "Well done, well done."
So let me ask you this question. This is a hypothetical I think about all the time.
Sure.
Your daughter and her boyfriend, they have a serious relationship.
I would hope they're
And they're around each other all the time.
I'm trying to get her off the payroll, so I'm trying to.
So they're together all the time. They have a serious relationship.
Yeah.
There's love there, right? You guys are hanging out in the house. She says something, and he says something back that you don't like.
Yeah. Oh,
So maybe
wow.
it's
I have no point of reference of what you're talking about.
Maybe it's an inside joke. Maybe he snapped on her a little bit. Do you say, "This is my daughter's relationship. I'm staying out of this"? Or do you say, "Let me tell you something, motherfucker. You can say whatever you want. Not in my house. You can't. You don't talk to my daughter." How do you handle that?
So when
Or have you had to?
when it hypothetically may or may not have happened, and my instincts, I want like this, and my wife gave me one of these.
The general.
I was like the Force, like in Star Wars. It was like a Spanish soap opera, a lot of close ups.
Mi corazón.
Jay's doing the subtitles over there for you.
Oh, God.
So, "Donde está puppy?" But yeah, so it's hard because I mean, you gotta have to, and you just, I mean, I haven't seen anything like major
Right.
crimes, but when you do see some things that you don't like, it's hard. You got to keep your mouth shut, but you got to keep your mouth shut. You got to play the long game.
But it's hard to keep your mouth shut,
I mean,
right?
up until this point, I've been keeping my mouth shut.
Okay.
I'm not telling you I'm not going to not keep my mouth shut. I'm just saying at this
that's
point,
gotta be hard.
at
That's
this
gotta be
point,
hard.
again, my wife, give me that look. So
That's got to be a tough one.
My mom has to play that game with us because living with us and like now like my wife, like if she doesn't like something that my wife's doing or she tries to be a mother to my daughter, it's like there's a lot of like variables there where you're like, and I think my mom navigated it pretty well.
This is your mom and your wife.
My
with
mom
issues,
and my
or-
wife,
Okay.
with because they're in the house. and
Yeah,
so
oh,
my
that's
mom
like-
has an expectation of like we talked earlier, like what the house should look like, and that's not our reality. And so there's a lot of she has to like keep her mouth shut, and she tries to do a good job of it, but at the same time, there's going to be things that are just different, and it's like it must be hard for her in that same way to like keep her mouth shut, but at the same time, you know, it's like it's so hard because it's like we want to be together, we want her to live with us, so it's
You want to
we're gonna have to
include
take
her in
care
the
of her
thing.
at some point.
Yeah.
She's doing a great job, been taking care of helping us taking care of our daughters, and especially
Right,
with me
right,
being on
right,
the road
right.
now, like it allows my wife to still be another person and not feel like she's getting all this forced extra labor.
Yeah.
But so it's like this give and take, and it's hard because it's like I got to imagine for her, it's the same feeling like she's seeing something and not liking it, or it's not vibing with her being, but she's got
You
to
just
bite
gotta
her tongue.
grin and bear it, right?
And let me just have a disclaimer. He's a nice kid. I'm just hypothetically. We're saying any of it that
If he's
somebody
listening,
watches it, it's hypothetical.
But I think, that's natural. Like with my father-in-law and I, like obviously because I don't have like I always had a hard time with male relationships because I wasn't around many of them, and if they were male, they were gay.
I had a hard time with male relations because I did have relationships. So you were
I
the
mean,
opposite.
like that
So,
same concept of like, so now my father-in-law is like grew up on a farm and he's got this big long beard and he knows how to fix things and what tools do what, and I got the starter kit from Home Depot, like
you got the IKEA screwdriver.
I have to call him, and like he's gotten better, but we had a hard time. He always had to like prove a point that
alpha
he
your ass,
knew
like,
something that I didn't, but then once I showed him YouTube and I started learning myself, and like we found a way to kind of connect, and we've had a really good relationship.
Did you cover for him on January 6th?
Right.
Like when the FBI when the FBI asked you where he was?
Right?
Did you?
he was here with me the whole time.
He was carrying a podium somewhere.
Yeah.
But no, and we've had a great relationship. But I saw him once. We had a scenario where one of my other brother-in-laws of one of my sister-in-law's husbands, he had gone to jail, and so he came out of jail, and that was the first time they actually got to meet. And so he came over, and I was there, and we were helping with a deck or something. A deck that I fell through, by the way.
Okay.
Different story. Different
That he built.
That he built. Well, it was an old deck.
Check that one for the step.
So they were like replacing it, and the son-in-law was trying to be helpful, and it was the first time. But like he had all these tattoos.
Oh, the prison tats.
White power tattoos.
Oh shit, Jay! Whoa,
all over him, right?
Jay.
And so, yeah, dude. So
this podcast is getting dark.
dark
quick.
as fuck, or white as fuck.
I'll get there. So he's trying to build. So here's the problem. He was at a crossroads, my father-in-law, because he's trying to bond with this son-in-law who, okay, whatever that is, and the son-in-law would start saying stuff, and then I could see my father-in-law having this internal dilemma of like what to say to him, and he erred on the side of co-signing some of his statements. Not anything like blatant or like racist.
I know what you're talking about.
But like nodding and complicit, not saying probably what he wanted to say, and some of it was against LGBTQ more than it was race stuff.
This is all about building a deck.
Yeah,
like
so
this
this
stupid
was
transgender hammer. Like,
yes,
what the
because
fuck?
apparently he had been married to a couple other, or had a couple kids with a couple other women, and he was complaining because one of the women happened to be gay. And now he was like going off about her because there must have been some issue.
Okay.
And so my father-in-law just kind of kept nodding. Meanwhile, I'm sitting
You're like,
there
what
in
the
the
fuck,
same
dude?
place, like looking at him like
You sell out, motherfucker.
I
Yeah.
left that like thing saying like, dude, this guy's covered in tattoos. He made a decision to make those kind of tattoos. We didn't talk about those topics, but like he had those, you couldn't help but see them.
Yeah.
And then he's having this conversation, and I'm watching my father-in-law side with him. I'm like, this guy's been in jail. I've been here.
Yeah, like, I'm
with
the
kid,
good
like,
one,
How
yeah.
are you like allow like?
Is the guy still around?
He's back in jail.
Okay, but like when he comes out, is he coming home?
I don't. Oh no. I don't
Okay,
think
that's
so.
the ship of sail.
But like,
And this is why I won't move into the suburbs.
but dude,
this is
telling
why I'm
ya.
staying in the city. This
like,
is the crap that goes on out there.
Could you
It's,
imagine? It's convoluted, but it's like still like it's hard when you're trying to make a bond. And I think in his heart he was just trying to agree. He was just trying to get to know this guy, and he didn't want the first and maybe only meeting he was going to have.
No,
with
it
him.
makes perfect sense. My daughter and you have a relationship. I care about her. Her happiness is important to me. You seem like a fuck up, but I got to give you the benefit of the doubt because
daughter loves
you
you.
could very
You have a
easily
kid
be
with
around for
her.
a long time. Yeah.
Yes. So like I don't fault him for that, and he did have a conversation with me after that
To say, like, hey, I don't
saying like,
feel that
listen,
way.
I
It's
should
good.
not have done that, and that's where I was, and so that was really cool that but I can understand that sometimes in the moment we co-sign things that we wouldn't or be complicit with because we don't want to disrupt the waters in the moment.
Yeah.
Not my family. Don't look at me. No. My uncle would if the moment those sleeves got rolled up, my uncle would have been like, "Yo, bud, what are you doing?"
Yeah.
I got you. But
And it's just like so I didn't know what to do. I'd never seen those in my life. I knew what they were when I saw them, and I was like, I'm not going to talk about this or bring them up at all. Wow. But like, I just can't imagine like that's a
Now,
life.
who was that dude dating? Who was the dude married?
Well,
to?
it was always my daughter, my daughter. my wife's sister, who's a half sister.
Okay.
But yeah. So I mean,
I need a playbook. I'm trying to keep up with all these characters. What's going on?
My
here?
family is
This
like
one's
Game of
dating
Thrones.
This one, white
It is
power.
I know it is. It is so.
Then the dragon came.
Right?
It's just,
So like my wedding was crazy because these two sides coming together, it was really it was powerful. It shows you that like love can conquer all and love is love, because like when we came together, everybody came together for us, and we've had nothing but a great time. And then the poison of that situation has been remedied because it's not,
because he's in my
that's
head,
it.
nowhere to be
and
found.
that was of their own doing at that point. So it's like that was his journey. So but my relationship with my father-in-law, I think, was challenging because I wasn't a manly man. He was a manly man who grew up on a farm, and I'm with his daughter. Am I good enough for his daughter?
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. I think that's always going to be the case.
That's
and
always
we're
going
to have the same.
Because that same jealousy I felt when my fucking 6-year-old may have a crush on a dude, and it just like, I'm telling you, it went from the back of my eyeballs, down my spine, to my toes, back up into my stomach. And I must have had a look on my face because her mother looked at me like, what? Like that probably never goes. Does it go? Does that ever go?
I don't know. I don't. And I think I don't want to overgeneralize, but I think women handle that situation better than men do.
Yeah.
I don't, I'm just guessing based on the number of guys I've talked to about this, and women kind of go, "Oh, well, it's fine. They're just kids," and you're just like your instincts, like, no, I have to. I'm the protector. I'm the vanguard. I'm the one that protects everything.
I'm the guy.
I'm the guy. I'm the
fucking
guy.
Who is this?
Yeah.
6-year-old is not financially responsible enough for this
Right.
relationship.
I'll say things to my daughters when they were little, like, "Is he Catholic?" And they're like, "Dad, it doesn't matter. I'm just asking. Is he Catholic?"
Yeah.
So
That's right.
Now, does any of that matter to you?
No, it used to.
Did it ever?
It used to, but like I said, when we went to the point where I was told I was in a mixed marriage because I married an Italian girl. And that's the honest. That's what I was told by a cousin at my wedding reception. And as you grow up and you develop and you realize people are people, love is love. And the truth of the matter is, I said, find someone who loves you as much as I love your mother, and that's it.
That's it. That's I mean.
Yeah,
That's the key thing. I want to talk about something because I've been kind of stewing it. You guys were talking about the moments, like these moments you remember, and sometimes I hear people talk about. I may hear like a single mother talk about how difficult it is to be a single mother. And before anyone gets angry at me on the internet, I understand how difficult it's got to be a single mother. And what I'm going to say to that, though, is, it's very difficult to be like a father who wants to be there and can't. Like, that shit hurts. Yeah. That shit really fucking hurts. And there's a lot of dads who like want to be there and they can't. There's a lot of dads who got the first steps via text message or or maybe Instagram. They saw the first steps, and like it's almost like cherish those moments. You know what I mean? Like complaining how difficult it is. I almost feel like it'd be like if Jay-Z was complaining because driving a Rolls Royce in New York City was hard to find parking. You know what I mean? Like you have access to all those memories, and you will for the rest of your life. To the father that's not there, like that time is gone.
Yeah.
5-year-old lady.
Well, I guess it matters if it's the doing of the father, but you're talking about the situation.
I'm talking
where
about the
it's
one
out
who
of
wants to be
control
there, and you
for-
can't be there. And it's like I would love for my daughter to walk in the room and say, "I think there's a monster under my bed. Can you?" And I could say, "Well, there's not a monster, and Daddy's here, and he's going to help you if anything happens." I don't get to do that very fucking often.
Yeah.
And those memories are gonna be. They're gone. I can't have 5-year-old Lainey back.
Yeah.
I can't have 6-year-old Lainey back. I can't have Lainey back from a minute ago. Like they're gone. And so sometimes, when you hear someone talk about, oh, it's so difficult, I just kind of think about like when you have your last 100 seconds on this planet, you're going to be able to replay the good, the bad, the ugly, and it's going to make you smile and you're going to be at peace. And there's a lot of people out there, it's hard as fuck because we don't get to experience that.
It's like that Citizen Kane. Do you ever see that film, Citizen Kane?
No, I don't know
Saying
what that is,
Rosebud. You ever hear the thing? Well, there's this thing, Rosebud.
you
and
just give the ending away.
I'm not gonna watch it.
But the whole thing is surrounding with the last moment of his life.
Is that what it is?
And
Okay.
he says the word Rosebud, and it's about you then. The movie's about you then finding out that it was him reliving this sled and this moment in his life when he felt like a kid, despite him having all this fame and the thing that gave him the most joy that he thought about in his final moment was
Okay.
a moment that he was sledding as a kid. And so
Okay.
all of that flooding back, it comes back. So it's like
That's Humphrey
that.
Bogart, right?
Orson
that
Welles.
I don't know.
Orson
Orson Welles.
Orson
I think it
Welles.
was. Hearst. I think that's the publisher at the time. I think that's kind of it was loosely based on his life.
Yeah, but well, we talked in an episode before about I use the analogy of plate appearances. Like I have more plate appearances because I'm living with my kids than you.
Right.
But you,
there's people they don't get to do the dinosaur chicken nugget coming to the.
And like to be clear to the listeners, we're talking about the fathers who want to be there.
Yes, as the fathers I want
because there's plenty like Knucklehead that we were talking about that can't keep himself straight.
Right.
But like
if you want to be and you can't be there, like it is very hard to listen to somebody else tell you how hard it was to do bath time. Like you don't think I want to do the bath and do the hair and read the bedtime story, and those are moments that'll be gone. Like I said, we were talking about holding hands. Soon, I'm not even going to be able to hold hands.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And I'm not. It's just.
But you know what? If you can't hold hands, right? But I can tell you, you'll have a different level. There's something else will replace the holding hands, and you'll have a connection that you never realized you were going. I can't even tell you what the connection is going to be. I can just tell you where.
But you have you have those quality at bats. They're going to lead to
exactly.
the stats are in the book.
The sports guy said, but God, I didn't think Christ there's going to be math in this one. But so you find out, you connect, and I'll tell you right now. I mean, me and my youngest going down to Frankfurt Hall and having a couple beers. She eventually has to hold my hand because I'm too drunk to walk to the car. So it all works out.
Well, so that's what I'm banking on. I just realized I'm like I have to believe because I don't have any other way to like get through it, for lack of a better term, is that the relationship is going to get really sweet when she's 22 and we're walking somewhere, we're going to a thing, and we're like, and those will be my most glory-filled years.
Yeah.
Because I don't have the 4-year-old memories like I wish I had because I want more of them.
Yeah, when you didn't get that pandemic, like he and I were talking about earlier, where we had these moments regardless. But
there's a point where you go. Your daughter's name's Lainey.
Lainey, yes.
Okay, so Lainey, did you poop? Did you poop, Lainey? And there's going to come a point where she's going to be walking with you and. Dad, did you poop? You pooped, Dad, didn't you? So it all
and here's the other side of that coin too: is to you, you're feeling that, but to like Lainey, it's almost like that concept of that she's not feeling any of that. So like those moments that she has with you are just as strong, regardless of the fact that there's not as many of them. So it doesn't like that's the thing that I think sometimes we don't realize is the strength. Like my dad wasn't around, but he was still at the forefront of my mind of thinking like, oh, I see all my friends who have dads, and I'm thinking about the only memories I had of my dad I romanticized. So they're still romanticizing the 3 at bats, even though they didn't get 100 at bats with you that season. And that's I don't know why I keep doing this analogy for Spaceful, but I think I
think inside baseball.
I think it's a good analogy.
I think that that's the other side of that coin. That's like in reality that she's not seeing it that way. She's daddy. I mean, and a tall drink of water. This guy, I feel
she doesn't even know. How
gets to walk around looking like that. Oh, I feel bad for
Al
Davis.
She doesn't know how cool I am, how handsome.
But that's
I am. She doesn't give a shit.
I saw your Instagram pictures. You've got a lot of you.
He's got the duck face. He's got the male duck face.
How awkward it's gonna be for her when she starts bringing a girlfriend home, like girlfriends of an age, and she's gonna be like,
"Meet my dad."
That's your dad.
Yeah. We'll get you on. We'll get you on the dad bod diet. You'll be fine.
Yeah,
we'll get you. No, but and the other thing as I wanted to mention too, you didn't have to worry about the technology like we did. Like with the screens, like my daughter, like she wanted to play this Roblox game, but like I had to be careful because there's a chat area, and my oldest is so smart, but she's not savvy with social, so she knows our address, she knows our phone numbers. If somebody asked her, she would give that information because she's being taught how to interact with people. That's and heavy. She's asking people their names. She's like, she'll ask them their birthdays, like, and that's just stuff she's being taught to do, but she's not realizing where to and when to apply that. So I'm so nervous. Thankfully, you can shut off those, but that like parents have to learn a master's in technology to stay because there's apps like a calculator app that looks like a calculator, but it is a storage app to hold the photos and stuff that you're getting from Snapchat. Imagine, dude, I used to have to imagine what Megan looked like naked in my 8th grade class.
Oh my gosh.
She'll send you a Snapchat now. Could you imagine that?
Wait,
imagine
no, can we get what does Megan look like and what are the
imagine
what are the
you
photo
know what
options?
Megan looks like. Megan looks like whatever your 8th grade crush looked like.
Yes.
And now imagine Megan can send you a Snapchat of what she looks like.
Oh fuck!
I mean, go on TikTok, and all of a sudden you see these girls. There's these trend where and OnlyFans. OnlyFans.
Oh my God, OnlyFans.
What is
What if your
OnlyFans? I'm trying
daughters
to
have
sound like an old
What if
guy.
your daughters have an OnlyFans?
Oh my God.
Okay,
so
I want to sound like
okay.
an old guy, but what's
So OnlyFans. Oh my God, I'm so excited. Okay, stop. So OnlyFans is where
Do I
they.
wanna know what this
no,
is?
you don't want to
Yeah,
know. No,
You kind of do if you ever like an old.
So that's how these girls are making. If your daughters are buying really nice things and you're wondering where that money is coming from, they can set up a camera, stream live. People will subscribe to them and be their OnlyFans, and will pay them to either send them messages or do things. Now,
So
it could
what do you
be,
think if I took my socks off right now and we can get the camera in my feet?
So
What do you
that's
think
what
I
I'm
could bring
saying.
it up?
There, you could
Yeah, really?
fucking weird.
There is an
Like,
OnlyFans for that.
And then you know some other, it's just like comics. Some guy will call you, go, "Hey, who's booking that foot picture?"
Yeah,
thing?
exactly.
Yeah.
I don't like
Well,
it.
there was a
What's the book
report of
on
a
the foot?
teacher. There was a report of a teacher who does a foot fetish and has an OnlyFans and makes a decent amount of side money.
This world's
Showing-
coming to an
Now
end.
I do want to say this. If you're a male or female and someone wants to pay you exorbitant amounts of money for pictures of your fucking feet, send them the goddamn picture, right? Yeah, like, send them the fucking pictures. Like, yeah, I'll show you my foot right now. You see that? That's just a preview. Like, yeah, like send it. Your
This
foot.
little piggy went to market.
Your
This
fucking
little-
foot. I'll
that's-
paint him whatever color you want, brother. Like, I don't, or sister, I don't give a
And
fuck.
I don't know, and maybe it is something where it's giving an outlet where, because maybe it's giving an outlet to something where if that person didn't have that outlet, like the concept of like the purge in some weird scenario,
Right,
where
we
it's
got it.
giving an outlet
Yeah.
to something
mean-
where maybe people would have gone and acted out and
Some weird
and
shit.
did an episode of like SVU or something
Yeah.
like that.
But it gives people are making some. There are reports of some people, women, I'm sure men probably do too, making a lot of fucking
Bank.
money.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
bank.
you give 300 people
because they'll
paying
do
you
it
$30
monthly,
a
they'll
month.
throw a $3 a month. But if you have 1,000 people throwing you $3 a
There's
month, you have
comics we
3,000.
know.
Yes.
There's comics
I
we
know,
know.
I know.
Oh yeah.
And they're crushing. They are
Yeah.
they're
Yep.
crushing money.
I saw a link tree, and on the link tree, one of the links, link tree.
Yeah,
is-
yeah. I've seen
Damn,
that.
man.
Wait a minute.
Well,
no, my
if you didn't know what
CompuServe account
OnlyFans
goes
is,
in-
it's link tree. But one of the links on that was their OF page and OnlyFans, and so like I just that those are things.
and now that you mention it, I think Eddie McGonigal does have an OnlyFans. It's just videos of him chewing with his mouth
but they're
open.
just like
so,
I mean the tech. I'm nervous.
sorry, Ed.
You never know who's on the other end of the internet.
Well,
you
that's
never
just
know
it.
who's on the other
I'll
end.
be
That's
honest.
just
When
fucking weird
AOL
about it.
came out, I was in middle school when AOL came out. Like, you know how many people were pretending? Yeah, right.
Yeah,
you know how
yeah.
many people were pretending to be people they weren't, or pretending to be older so I could get a password to get like naked pictures
Yeah.
of Alicia Silverstone, fake pictures off the internet, and
You
then
know
sell
they
them
were
for
fake, you
$5
didn't
in my
give a fuck.
Catholic school on a floppy disk, because that's not what I did.
Damn. Yo, dude, I'll be honest with you. Like when AOL came out, I was like, I could have very easily been kidnapped. Let's just put it that way.
But, like,
I was all about meeting someone on the internet and like getting
Don't
fucking weird,
don't get in
man.
a stranger's car. Oh, by the way, have you heard about Uber and Lyft?
Yeah, exactly.
It was
Yeah,
like
yeah.
now there's a button. Like there's somebody has a joke about that. There was like, oh, now we have a button to bring them to our house.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
I mean, those are the things that I'm most nervous about, and mostly because of my daughter and her ability to understand socially what's happening. It puts me on guard for those events and like the people, and will she have a boyfriend? And I watch Love on the Spectrum. I don't know if you ever seen it. It's
I
on
love Love
Netflix.
on this. I love the Australian version better than the American
So
version.
the American I like because I see a lot of my daughter and Abby,
Mm-hmm.
and then she's still with the guy that she met on that show because I follow them on TikTok, and it's adorable, and so it's like I love
OnlyFans.
watching that. And
They have an
like-
OnlyFans. That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah, that's
That's,
what I was gonna say.
yeah, but they're putting Lego sets together. Okay,
it's only autistic. It's a whole other thing. It's a very, very niche porn.
I will say they got a ton of TikTok followers.
I bet
It's,
they do.
crazy.
They're entertaining people.
I love it.
man.
Oh, for me, that for me is another like looking into the future of like, what it could.
I mean,
be
what
like.
technology? What did you have? You did what?
well, I mean, I
They had the wall phone in the kitchen.
I had a rotary phone.
Post office.
Yeah, I
Smoke signals.
I would go out and just play for hours. And I would, when the lights came on, I came in and
I had a
because I had to
stick.
churn the butter. No, when I was a kid, I remember here in Fishtown, I was like 10 years old, right? So I'm riding my bike and I could go from just down to Girard Avenue, or as I would say, Girard Avenue. And one day I just kept going, and I was at 15th and Market.
Holy shit.
So my uncle is coming in. He must have been coming from a tap room somewhere. He had a couple in him, and he goes, Joey!
The fuck is
What the hell? Get the hell home or I'll tell your mother. And he went on the L and just left.
Yes, sir. He had some drink in him. Is that what it
He
is?
had some drink in him, and then my Uncle Joe O'Connor, and it was like, Joe, he's talking about. And so I just got on the bike and I rode home, and that was the
it.
end of like
Yeah,
that.
that's funny.
I mean, I had a 286 monochrome screen when I first got married. And it was message boards. So the comics were like never once did I see anything that was like inappropriate. We like comics trying to get work. Really, is really that's pretty much the focus of it. But my youngest had a party. And one of her girlfriends had a smartphone, took a picture of everybody at the party and posted it. And kids were mad at my daughter for not inviting them.
them
To the party. And that was like the
party.
first smell of bullshit. Is how I saw that.
Yeah.
I'm like, so
Yeah.
That's what's happening now because people intentionally post stuff out too. That's
To hurt someone's feelings.
Now it's the cyberbullying. Like
Yeah.
now it'd be like, oh, don't walk down that hallway or don't go down that street home. But now everything's a digital hallway, so there's no escaping in your face, and it could be as slight as seeing things of you not being included, or it could be as deep as creating a website to catfish you, like creating a website pretending to be a guy to lure you in to get you to reveal secrets about yourself that then they're gonna like. This is the sadistic stuff that's happening in middle schools around the country right now.
I mean, bullying was horrible in the 70s and 80s.
It's
and
like, just punch me in
and
the
it was
face
a fist
and let's
fight.
get it
yeah.
over with.
It was fist fights and
You
everything
know?
else, but nothing. It's
too
pales
much.
in
It's
comparison
too
to that.
much. It's
And
too much.
We didn't have the word anxiety when I was growing up. It just didn't exist.
Yeah.
But as I look back on things, I had anxiety. Right? You weren't depressed. You didn't. But I was depressed. There were times that I can't imagine with this technology. I mean, it
It's
must
too much,
be
'cause
amped
you
up
can-
by a million. What are the teen suicide rates? Like what's happening because of this technology?
Well, now it was interesting because we looked up some of that on a past one, like with bullet. They're saying there's so many factors with that lead to suicide. There are probably other factors in there, but it definitely can be the straw sometimes that might break the camel's back with kids not having enough of a resource at home and people that they can go talk to. So their whole life is sitting on this phone waiting for and the dopamine. There's studies if there's a
that'll
social
get you- that'll
dilemma.
get
There's
you
a
excited.
documentary
Yeah.
on Netflix
Yeah.
where it talks about what it does to your brain when you receive a like. There were some things about talking about hiding likes because it gives this false sense
of like value or something.
Yeah.
Well, when we were younger, whatever happened in school, for the most part, when you left, my school ended at 3:17. When you left, you didn't have to really worry about it until the next morning.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Now with the phone attached to your hip and a tablet, and you get out of school at 3:17, you can still have the same amount of interaction with those same people who've been fucking with you all day long till 9 o'clock when it's time for you to go to bed.
Yeah.
That's where it's heavy. Like the ability to unplug. No one's unplugging. It's just coming in. Like
We found out like you took the phone off my daughter and no more texting, and she was texting on her iPad. So it was just she
It's
just
just whatever
shifted.
they moved
She
the thing.
shifted, yeah.
Well, how about you? How about you with your daughters now? Like when you guys are sitting down, or when you had those meals and stuugh, were their phones with them, and then they were dividing their attention, or were the phones away?
The phone's away.
Yeah,
that
Because
was
even
the
if they're
phone.
there, like I mean, that's with kids in school. We in the middle school this year, we stopped allowing the phones in the classroom, but they're getting lost on the tabs on their Chromebook. So it's like you can tell when a kid's not with you and gone in space. Because we had to stare out a real window, they have to stare out a Microsoft window.
Well, when you were coming up, or when your daughters were coming, or not when they're coming up. Now,
Yeah.
your daughter's got a question for you.
Yeah.
Text message, phone call.
I'll call them. And
You
the little
call them.
pains in the balls will text me back. And I go, I'm paying for the phone. Pick the phone up and call me back.
So you call them.
Yeah.
They
And-
ignore, and then they're
and
like, "Hey,
text.
Dad, what's up?"
I love it when he goes right to voicemail. Like, I sent my youngest one time, I go, I'm paying for this phone. If I don't get a phone call back in the next 30 seconds, I will shut this phone off.
because it's a digital. It's a digital middle finger. That is a digital middle finger. When they hit that decline button, that's what they're doing. That's why I told the kids when they have earbuds in, I'm like, you might as well stand on your desk and give me the finger. You might as well do that because that's.
I hate
that's
I
what
hate
it's
the
like.
headphone stuff. I hate
You know?
I hate the headphones because same thing. A message is going in. You can't hear that message.
Or you're being divided. The attention is I don't have your undivided attention.
And from a safety standpoint, if you're walking down the street, you got headphones on. I think Andrew Tate said something like this, which is weird because some people tell me I resemble the guy, but you're not in the moment, and you're exposing yourself to being hurt or harmed.
Absolutely.
You don't know. You can't hear footsteps behind you.
Monotasking.
You
We gotta
can't hear a
get back
car
to
whizzing.
monotasking.
You can't hear sirens going. You're in your own zone. I really don't like the headphones. Headphones that really make. I don't like. Imagine walking down with headphones. You
Well,
are just
there's
asking
a
to get
video
fucked up.
on YouTube. It's a spoken word thing. It's so powerful. I show it to my high school classes a lot. It's called Look Up, and the guy I think is like an Irish guy, but he's like it's like spoken poetry,
Yeah.
and the whole thing. If you combine it with the video that they have,
Yeah.
so powerful. about like and one of the lines is like we're a culture of smartphones but dumb people, and it's like all of these kind of lines about what you could be missing, and the whole scenario is this like this guy never meets this girl because the moment he would have had to stop and ask for directions never happened because he was looking down on his phone as she passed him by.
You just described the plot of every Julia Roberts movie.
That's right. Yeah. But like that's like it was like such a powerful like I remember seeing the kids like you could hear a pin drop by the end, and then it talks about the life he had. It showed you the life he had all the way to becoming a grandfather and them holding hands in death, and then it goes back and all of a sudden shows you how that never would have happened because of if he hadn't looked up.
Well, let me just switch to you being a teacher. I have cousins who are teachers. My wife's a teacher.
wife's a teacher,
Yeah, I know. They can have TV on and talk to you, and totally shut down the TV and give you full focus. And I'm like this, and I finally said to my wife, "You got to shut the TV off. I got to give you my full focus because I can't."
You're
do
like
both.
me. You're like me.
Yeah.
I can't do it.
I get in trouble for the other reasons because like my wife will accuse me of overanalyzing every little thing, and so what I do and what I do
Did
with
you
the
use
kids,
baseball metaphors when you talk
all
to
the
her?
time, all the time.
Well,
She
honey,
goes,
we can
my
play
third
third.
plate
learn how to
appearance
keep
of the
score.
evening.
She
I'm
learned
going
how
for
to
the
keep score.
cycle.
That's all I'm saying.
You're throwing a no-hitter tonight.
Got a
right now.
real Sandy Koufax
As
dilemma here.
a high school teacher, you learn for the 4 minutes in between classes to shut your brain off because there will be things you don't want to hear that if you hear something, you have to say something. And so you learn how to chain your brain to not be there. So I get in trouble now because my wife will say something under her breath or something and I'll analyze it. So now I shut myself off, but then I get in trouble because now she was talking to me
And you shut the fuck off.
I didn't pay attention because I was focused on watching the TV, blocking out that because that's not my battle to fight. I know this, but I get in trouble because then all of a sudden she's talking to me now. And so it's like one of those things where I know what you're saying. Like we have
It's a
such a
blown
good
plate
way
appearance.
to switch our track. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Well, my wife has accused me, and she's not wrong. Like she's telling me this story, and she goes, stop playing cartoons in your head. And I literally was thinking about Spider-Man, and I was like, she's telling this story. So
Yeah, there's times when I have a full-on concert going on in my. That's what I do. It's music playing.
Yeah.
and sometimes it is so like encompassing, like engulfing that I'll be like, dude. What the fuck's been going on? Like I'll have I'm not even joking. The whole song, I got the bass line going, I got the snare drum hitting, like, and it's I guess people would say that it's like an ADD. I don't really know, but there's times when I gotta like come on, focus, bro. It's really bad.
All right, so
my
I
wife
wanna-
was talking to me real quick. My wife was talking to me, and I always doing staring at her chest, and she made whatever big statement she was making about what I was doing wrong. I go, man, you got a nice rack. It's you stop looking at my chest.
All right, we're gonna end today with a what would you rather segment.
Okay.
I have a segment. It's ridiculous. Would you rather, right? Have to every night you go to the bathroom, step on a Lego, every night without knowing it's gonna happen, or get shot with a Nerf gun in the eye, and again you have no idea it's coming. Which one would you rather have to take every day?
I'm going to go with the Lego because you'll build a callus, and after a while, it won't hurt as much. The thing to the eye, you're not going to recover from that. You're not going to build an immunity.
You get that blurriness for the moment. I hate the shock of it. I hate when that something happens. And I get so mad, and I get such a potty mouth with that kind of stuff. Like I'll start cursing.
That's when the curses
up
come
a
out. Yeah,
storm,
yeah,
and
yeah.
I don't know what's coming. Like my wife one time, like I said something, and she like gave me one of these like quick little backhand because it deserved it, and her knuckle caught my eyeball, and she didn't mean it. Like she wasn't trying to
You
hit
didn't
me for
deserve that
force.
part. You
She was
deserve-
like giving me a like, yo, watch yourself. And I deserved to watch yourself, but the knuckle caught my eyelid, and
deserved
I got so
Jay,
mad.
do you ever need physical abuse? Do you ever deserve
I
physical abuse? Isn't the problem with her? You really?
the problem's me.
Why
Yeah,
can't
yeah, well,
she
I
should keep
deserve
her
it.
hands to
Jesus,
herself.
Jay.
I deserve that,
abused.
Jay. Let's
Let's put the domestic abuse line on the end of this today.
get her on the phone. Let's have an intervention because I think you're taking the burden of her fault.
That's
So,
true.
so-
That's true. I am. I'm such a victim.
Do we have another? Would you rather?
We had one that was would you rather wake up every day to listening to Baby Shark for the first 7 minutes of your day? Have you know the song?
Yes, I do. I don't know what OnlyFans are, but somehow I know what Baby Sharks are.
Or would
two are
you
relatable.
want to wake up for 7 minutes to a crying baby sound?
Listen, same thing with the Lego. My oldest had colic, And all she did was cry morning, noon, and night. And people say, "Oh, that must be tough. When did it stop?" And I'm like, "She's 27. I'll keep you posted." You learn. You just learn how to shut it down. You just
That's true too.
Yeah.
It's like, but that earwig of like a song, like my kids are listening to or a video, like just gets in my head, and I like get so frustrated that I can't get it out of my head.
Baby Shark is a motherfucker, man. That is. I mean, I don't know how else you're gonna word it.
They talked about gum. The study came
Yes.
out recently. Just for any parents might be listening, that I actually got that little bit of news. They're like, chew some gum. They were like, for some reason that helps. That they were
Really?
trying to figure out stuff that chewing gum will help with
will make
earworms.
you not hate.
Yeah,
Baby
it's just
Shark.
it just breaks up your thoughts. Some processes. It was like on Anyway,
That makes
sorry.
sense. No,
Yeah.
that makes sense. I like that.
Nonetheless, Baby Shark. So they remixed it. They remixed Baby Shark.
They do it
They got
all.
Mama Shark. They got Grandpa Shark, and they got all the little hand signals.
Yeah.
I don't have kids, and that song is a nightmare. I know that song, and it's a nightmare.
I mean,
to
I
listen
hate. I mean, I would. I think your Lego callus thing makes a lot of sense, but I hate the eye thing. The eye, so I'd have to go.
The eye
Lego
thing.
too.
The eye thing would suck.
I step on a Lego every night. I was telling him earlier. My daughter today called for me because she stepped on something that she. I'm like, oh, karma, and I had to not. I made it. I was nice about it, but in my head, I had that moment.
Did mommy beat you too? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
Sniper.
What's the one song that counteracts like Baby Shark? Like, what's the one go-to song in your head? Like for me, it's Ray Charles. I Got a Woman. I just love that
And
song.
that just
And
counteracts
I just
Baby
I
Shark?
got a woman. Yeah, boom.
Wow.
I like Hall & Oates Philly Forget Me Not. You ever Forget Me Not? Did you hear that song? I like that one.
I don't even know what songs I'm playing. In
Sometimes
my
I'll go up to Mark Riccadonna turned me on to that. Sometimes I'll go up to that song.
You know, he's a really good guy that I've never met. We've
Really?
been on like Zooms together, and like if I'm at a club, he's there the week before or the weekend. Like I've never met the guy.
Yeah,
you
guys
but
you guys
he's
have
got
hit it
nothing
off.
but he's got
Yeah.
nothing but a
Yeah,
stellar
you guys would definitely get
reputation.
along. You guys would
Yeah.
definitely get along.
Yeah, good dude. Yeah, no.
I don't know what song I have, but I also hate the Bruno song. We don't
yeah,
talk about Bruno. Fuck
Dude, you know that
Bruno.
movie was about basically generational trauma and trying to break the cycle of generational
that what it is?
trauma. I mean, that's essentially it, because the grandma was set in her ways, and this daughter didn't end up having supposedly a power
and
like
kinda
all
was
of her
kinda
other
shitting on
relatives, but
her.
her power was, or just the
Bringing
fact
people
that she
together or
was,
something?
that she was the one that didn't have the powers, but also was bringing the family together. And,
And,
that was,
and what is Bruno? Is Bruno
well,
pedophile?
Bruno was one of the guys, so they're like, he disappeared because he had brought shame on the family. So they're like, we don't talk about Bruno. He disappeared. And I was like, is this like Disney's part of their like, don't say gay bill? Like, we don't talk about Bruno.
No,
we don't say gay.
I thought this is gonna sound horrible. I thought Bruno was like a creepy uncle.
Well, yeah,
like,
that
made
makes
done
sense.
some
That makes
shit.
I
sense.
We don't
think
even
he
talk
like
about-
something
talk about
happened
that
to him,
one.
and he like. But I think to me that reminds me of like the family member who went off on their own or was the black sheep, and we just pretend like we don't talk about Bruno.
Yeah,
Bruno
and
made
that is like
decisions
a
that aren't part of the
homosexual-
family,
homosexuals dealt with
and
that
we
for a long
just
time.
it could be that, or it could just be like he decided to go against the grain and not do the family business, and have a live-in, a live-in person that's a Republican and used to work for Cheney in the White House.
Yeah,
right?
and
Not
you just
Cheney.
you don't
Pence.
talk about it.
Pence.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
But I don't like that song either because it's on repeat. The girls love it. It's on repeat.
My daughter cannot watch this podcast.
I know. Yeah. But you didn't have
She'll
like
be
you,
smacking me around like
and you don't have
she's
to
your
watch some
wife.
of these. You don't have to watch some of these movies though. But like now it's like I'm
my
watching
God.
all these Disney.
No, I'm married to a
movies. They're
first
so
grade
woke.
teacher who
Oh,
lives
yeah.
and breathes
my-
Disney. Yeah,
yeah.
I know. Yeah,
You know
And by the
about
way, as far as
Bruno.
like, name a Disney movie that didn't have some kind of evil undertone. Like name one that where it wasn't. It's really a dark movie.
Yeah, Bambi. Think about
Look at
Bambi.
Bambi.
You like Bambi? Like this. So
I don't remember, but I remember
Bambi.
the mom got the dad got the mom got killed, and then the dad
Yeah.
had to raise
By the
baby.
Rosebud sled.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, that's why Orson Welles actually killed Bambi's mother. So,
But it, like even Lion King. We watched
Yeah.
Lion King, and
Yeah,
he
it's
died,
fucked
and
up.
my autistic daughter's obsessed with death. And it happened. We were watching. She's like,
she's
did their
Irish.
dad? Yeah, she's like, did their daddy die? Are they gonna go buy a new one? I'm like, what is he? A flat screen TV? Like, what are we doing here?
Their
Like,
uncle killed the dad.
but she's like, so our cats just died, and so she's like, all very obsessed. Like, she looks at my grandma. She's like, when are you gonna die?
was the cat's name Mufasa?
And she just was like matter of fact standing like, well, not today, baby. We hope.
It'll happen.
There's an honesty to autism that I can never do. Like my cousin has a son who's autistic, and I took him to see Into the Spider-Verse. And he's a big comic book geek. I'm a big comic book geek. And he was like 14, and he's talking during the movie. I go, hey, Anthony, we don't talk during the movies, right? And he was loud. And all of a sudden he goes, I'm autistic. I go, yeah, I know, man, but guess what? You don't talk during the movie, right? And all of a sudden I knew something else was coming. He goes, and this is an absolute true story. He goes, people with autism talk during the movies, and I'm waiting. I go, I know something else coming is, and black people. Black people. And I said to him, I go, you know what, you little bastard? Say what you want. I can run faster than you. You're on your own.
I talk about my
a good
daughter.
joke.
She said in the middle of a restaurant, this is a true story. My wife texted, I wasn't with her, but she's like, she yelled at my wife. She's like, can I talk about black people? And she wanted to talk about all of the facts about Rosa Parks, about Martin Luther King, all these facts she'd been learning in school. That's all she wanted to do. But like, it was just the awkwardness. But I to your point with that story, that makes me think that we're talking so much about autism that we're giving a pass. Like, I want my daughter in everything. I don't want excuses made for her. And you're right. There's a certain thing where we have to teach instead of saying, oh, well, you're autistic. She's still like, it's like this bend and give of how much does she bend? How much can the world bend? And then there's this kind of compromise in between. But, learning lessons, I would rather learn. I take her to the movies all the time, and we have to coach on, hey, where other people are here. We're not the only people in the theater. And so when I try to approach as much of it from that way so that I'm not just saying, oh, you're autistic, because she knows she's autistic. I don't know that she knows what that means, but my youngest daughter knows too, because my oldest one time was saying, get off of me, you're killing me. And my younger daughter, who was only 5 at the time, looked at her and was like, Lisa, you can't say that. You have to say you're hurting me. And I was like, whoa, like it was cool that she taught her that, but like I could see how much empathy my younger daughter and how fast and mature my younger daughter is like picking up on all of the stuff. And it's more beautiful than it is sad. Like, I'm so excited for her, like, because she's going to have a level of empathy in this world that not other girls will have. Yeah. And that'll make her someone who like won't be complicit with bullying, won't be complicit with stand up and
Laney's like
and say that. And that's a blessing.
I thought when she said that, can we talk about black people? You're gonna be like, were you outside when we were building that deck? You were not outside.
So look at these tats.
So the bit that crushed at the Stress Factory at an all black show, the bit ends up being with, well, sweetheart, you're allowed to talk about black people as long as you don't say anything that came out of your Uncle Rick's mouth.
His Uncle Rick, the prison guy? There you go.
And I was like, he's only allowed visitors every other Friday. And it's like, and then it ends up with him, like me rapping that she's going to recite Martin Luther King's poem, but it ends up being the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air's like intro. So just all of the playfulness of what she wanted to, but yeah, I mean, like, it's amazing the filter that they don't have, but I love coaching her through those moments, and I hope it takes more reps. I mean, she's going to need so many coaching, but I don't want to pull a card out and have her say, oh, well, I'm autistic, so I get this pass.
I'm jealous. I'm envious of the lack of a filter, to be honest with you.
Right? No, there's some. I
so
love
many
the
times
honesty.
I want to say something and I don't, and it's like, fuck, just say it, and I still won't do it. But there's people in this world who are like, I'll fucking say it.
Well, that's the blessing.
What I mean?
That's why I think that's a gift too, because she's gonna call you on your shit.
Bullshit.
It's like, or if something's not happening the way it's supposed to happen, she's gonna tell you. When the bus driver, she had a bus driver when she was like 5 who was new and took a different turn, and she freaked out because she immediately knew. I love that. Because now that means if she ever was in someone's car or the taxi driver,
she's going to make a great wife one day with a husband telling them how to drive. Right, sitting right next to him. That's like, dude, why are you going so fast? We don't go this way.
That's going to be one of the blessings where I will smile. Like, we were talking about a lot about those moments where like things like that make me so proud, even though they're things I should be embarrassed about because they're milestones I never thought she'd reach. Like she never spoke, but then we got told she was using the F word at school. I'm like, oh my God, she's talking. This is amazing. But she's using the F word. So that's not cool. But like, sometimes it's fun because there's like these milestones, and like, I got to be like, well, how important is it? Is this a big problem or a small problem?
Now, do you guys drop F notes in front of your kids
Negative.
at all? I do not at all.
Never heard it.
Apparently I do, because I can't imagine where she got that
Jay's
from.
the worst dad. Jay's the worst dad in the room.
That's right.
Yeah.
I try not to. I don't curse like a sailor, but I will watch stuff that I think my wife had to start reminding me when the girls got to an age.
I'm not. I mean, I'll have a shit or a damn, but I'll never. I don't think my daughter's ever heard me drop an F note at all. But
ever.
Actually, my youngest accidentally locked our dog in the car at Temple in August, and she confessed to my wife if he was ever going to use that word, that was the most applicable time to use that word.
Yeah, I sparingly. I'd use it a little seasoning.
See, I curse like a sailor. I curse when we were banter. I curse on stage. I curse in front of my dog. One time she heard me say shit, And she was like, "You're not supposed to say that." And I was like,
You're 6.
I said, "No, I said you're right. I shouldn't have said that. Daddy was wrong."
Yep. And as a teacher, I know you're like, that's the other thing. Like when you were talking earlier about your wife making that switch.
Yeah.
Like there's a brain in me switch that I would never think. I've never cursed in front of my students or even as a coach. I've heard coaches like I.
Oh
coaches
yeah,
like that.
coaches
Oh
are
my God.
motherfuckers.
Yeah.
But like, that's, but I have a track there when I know it's appropriate. And and I don't think, but like when I'm just
Yeah,
locker
bullshit.
talk,
Yeah.
we just grab women by whatever, All right. Well, I think
This
that's
was
a good
great,
place
guys.
for
Thank
us
you
to
so much. This is really appreciate
land the
the
plane.
time, man.
Yeah,
I
thanks
really
for coming out.
thank
Anything you want to plug? Drop some
Oh, yeah,
knowledge on
please,
us.
let's
Come
talk
on,
about
bro.
that.
Yeah, I mean, I got my dry bar special. You can get it for free on YouTube, so I don't want to spoil it to you. But do me a favor, if you're gonna leave a comment, leave a nice comment because people are mean. They were, if you read the comments, they were John Cena mean. So it started out like, and I don't see this. He goes, he looks like John Cena. I don't see it. Then all of a sudden down the road, like, he looks like an old John Cena. And my favorite one was John Cena in a fat suit. That was I wrote my comment to that person. I will find you and I will kill you. But joeycallahan.com and all the other stuff there. Wherever there's a check will clear, I'll tell a joke.
Notorious FOD.
Yeah. mhm.
Yep. There you go.
Seriously, Dad?
Seriously,
Seriously, Dad?
seriously, Dad. Dad. Seriously, Dad.
Seriously? Seriously?
This has been a Drop Tent Media Production.